Welcome to the Nose Plays Northgard. Today we're going to be doing a quick tutorial on micromanagement and opening strategy. Um, this is directly in response to a fellow YouTuber who has been requesting some tips and tricks on how to play Northgard better. Special shout out SB. You actually got me into playing this game. I've been following you for a while, and I've been following Northgard on Steam for a while. And I watched your early access Let's Plays of the game, got me really interested in it, and ended up picking it up and have had a lot of fun playing it. I've noticed that you've been playing it again lately, and I've been watching your videos, and decided to go ahead and do a little video of my own to kind of give you an idea of some tips and tricks that may help you out. So we're just gonna pick any clan for now, it doesn't really matter which one. And I'll just go through a couple of tips or tricks, things that I've learned from other YouTubers I've watched or from playing the game. One thing that's very useful is the P key will pause the game for you. And if you open up a menu or a window, like the lore menu, you can pause the game after it's open and you can still read everything on the screen, which is nice. I've already given you that tip and you've used it in a video, so thank you. I hope it was useful. First thing I want to point out is over here. This is a very important little window, and I've noticed you don't really use it all that often, and I'm going to show you some tricks with it here in just a moment. But the first thing I want to do is talk opening strategy. A lot of people in their opening like to build a lot of different things. The one thing that everybody has to build in your opening strategy is absolutely have to build a scout camp. It is 100% necessary to have a scout camp in your main tile because you can't really expand without it, so you got to have that. The second thing that I really like to build in my main tile right away is a Woodcutter Lodge, and the reason for that is you almost inevitably need two Woodcutter Lodges. In any game of any kind of duration, you're going to need a second Woodcutter Lodge. The reason that I like to just go ahead and get one down is there's no guarantee that you're going to get that slight bonus of having an empty forest next to you. Even if there is a forest next to you, it may have a wolf in it, it may take a while for you to get it. And so you're going to have to put that Woodcutter Lodge down in your main area anyways. And so for me, it's just better to just go ahead and get it built. Get somebody producing wood right away, and that means that I don't have to, if I did delay my Woodcutter Lodge, I don't have to wait to gather more wood to get other buildings down that are critical in the early game. The last thing that I want to point out that I do differently than a lot of other players is houses. A lot of people, because you'll notice at the top of the screen here, your population is near the cap already. You start with 4 out of 5 villagers, and each house will add an additional 5 to your population cap. Your first villager gets produced rather quickly, and so you're immediately pop capped if you don't have a house down in the first few minutes of the game. Now, there's a very distinct reason why I don't like to put a house down in my first tile, and that is the only other function that a house has, and it's actually a useful function, but the only other function it has besides raising the population cap is it allows you to change any other job class back to a villager, and it also counts as a gathering site for a villager. So a villager in a tile that doesn't have a house or other food related building can't gather food. So what I like to do is quickly use my scouts to uncover all the surrounding territory, and the very first one that I find that's empty, I'm going to go ahead and claim it, and I'm going to put a house on it. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to move villagers to that spot and allow them to gather food, but it's also going to give me a logistical location that is different from my main building, which I already have, my town hall. So the town hall allows you to change people's jobs back to a villager. There's no sense in having two buildings that do the exact same function in your main tile. But having a house in a different tile gives you two logistical locations to swap jobs, and that's valuable at some points in time. If you just need to quickly get something repaired, or you need to quickly get somebody on food. It's a lot easier when you have houses spread out across the map in different tiles, as far apart from each other as you can kind of manage, so that you have lots of points on the map to do that. So that's why I like to not build a house in my first tile. I know that sometimes, depending on how fast you scout your territories, you can be pop capped for a few seconds. Trust me, it's worth it to have those few seconds later in the game where you can get somebody to a villager quicker than to have your growth stalled for just a few seconds. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and unpause, and I'm going to start that. And we're going to go ahead and build a scout camp. And then we're going to build a Woodcutter's Lodge. And that's my opening almost every single game. Now over here, I'm going to mouse over this, and you can see I have two options. I can cycle through my villagers, or I can select all my villagers with the right click. So left click cycles, right click selects all. Now this is really cool. Watch what happens when I click this building. I'm going to right click on this building with all of my villagers selected like that. The two closest ones will come and fill this and become scouts. So when you right click all villagers and then you click on something like this, it says I can use, or this building needs 2 lumberjacks. If I click on this, I'll instantly get 2 of my villagers to go fill that. Okay, now that put my food at a real big deficit, but I can always move this one back here. Now I want to show you another little trick. I'm going to grab both my scouts and I'm going to move them both to this tile. And notice I've already unclaimed 2 tiles. Watch the timer on this, and some people don't know this. Scouts that are scouting the same tile together will scout significantly faster. And so sometimes if you really want to get a tile uncovered quickly, use 2 scouts at the same time on a single tile. Okay, another little trick that I haven't seen you use yet, there's a nice little button called the information key. It's bound to the I, letter I. If you press it, it'll give you all kinds of information on every tile. It makes it a lot easier to find where your stone is located, where there's fish, where there's wolves. It's really useful, and it gives you a lot of information. It tells you how many building slots you have left. And so I can see I can claim this territory for free, so I'm going to go ahead and claim it. And I'm going to immediately put down a house. I'll kind of just throw it in the middle. Okay, now rather than having to come up here, grab a villager, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this menu and I'm going to right click all my villagers, and then I'm going to right click on this house. It's a much better way to micromanage your population. One villager will come and build that house. Okay, I could get up to 1 villager. This is a single stone. So if I had 1 free villager left, which I do, I currently have 2 free villagers, I could go ahead and right click this and it would send just the nearest one to populate this stone. Okay, so it's a really handy tool. Right click on the picture, right click on where you want everybody to go, or if you click on a specific building or a specific task like constructing a building, it'll only send the number of people that you need for that task. It won't send everybody. However, if you just click on the ground, it will send everybody. And so it's also another way to get a bunch of people into a tile that needs defending or something of that nature. It's also great when you want to move people back. So if you had a big fight over here, or far away, and you need to move people back to their production buildings, you can click on all the woodcutters, send them back to their woodcutter tiles. Click on all of the miners, click on all the farmers, click on all the hunters, do the same thing. It's a quick way to get people back where they belong. Let's see, anything else? I think that's about it. So again, just to recap real quickly, the I key gives you a lot of information on your tiles. Don't build a house in your opening tile, build it somewhere else. Houses are really valuable as logistical points to swap villagers. And finally, use your population window. Use the right click feature and right click things to get people around. It's much more efficient than trying to micromanage and grab them individually. I hope this has been helpful. Again, SB, I just want to thank you so much for your videos. You're a real inspiration to me and got me into doing this. And I hope this is useful for you and anybody else who might see it. And until next time, this is The Nose Plays.